All right, so we are at page 620 or so. We finished 620, but we'll start there anyway. I just want to stress something different, brand new. We'll see who's actually watching these screencasts. I'm going to, for tomorrow's quiz, and we'll see if this works at all. If it does, then we'll continue it. I think it'd be a good idea, and get you guys hopefully reading text a little bit more than you are. I'd like you to prepare 1 page of notes. That can be 8.5 by 11, which is generally the sheet our daily quizzes are on, that size. You can do back and front. I know a lot of people already take notes, so if you're doing a lot of work, we should, consider letting you use that for these quizzes. As short as they are, I think it would be important. And I was saying today when I write things down, I think it helps me remember it a bit. So let's take that into account, and hopefully you guys are watching these screencasts right now, and this one particularly, and coming up with that as an idea. All right, so do that. It's okay. Tomorrow I'm going to ask you to have 2 sheets on your desk, or 3 sheets. Right? Just 2 sheets. Daily quiz and that page of notes. All right, and if it works well, if it's efficient, if we can get it done quickly, then we'll do it that way from now on. Okay. So the members of third parties know that their ideas are being taken by the 2 major parties. That was a question on the reflection sheet for today. The reality is, of course, they do. That's the whole point. That is the point of their existence. They are realistic. They know and reasonable. They know they're probably not going to become a major party in the United States. It's very unlikely, and that's going to be the case. So they want their ideas. That's why they exist. Frederick Jackson Turner. A lot of people were asking about that. I'd like you to take a look at this excerpt from the piece of writing we actually were analyzing without looking at it today. I think it's very important for you guys to actually look at it. Frontier is effectively closed, says Jackson. This brief official statement marks the end of a great historic movement. Up to our own day, American history has been to a large degree, the history of the colonization of the Great West. So, the strength behind American institutions is the fact that they have been compelled to adapt themselves to changes of an expanding people. That's what we've been doing. We've been expanding as a people. We've had to adapt to changes that we've seen through our expansion. Okay? So I'd like to answer the question, what are the strengths and weaknesses of Turner's writing? All these things are quizzable. Safety valve theory. I put this link up here. You might want to just take a look at that link. I think it's a pretty important one, and it talks about a lot of different aspects of the end of the frontier. And I just put to the left an excerpt from the site. Of course, the best thing we do would be to go to the site and actually look at it. So you can pause this and write it down if you want at some point. And this is just an excerpt. If you wanted to take a look, again, you can pause this and do the same thing with that. Political machines. Political machines are an interesting thing because they, through their machinations, right, through their mechanics, always come out on top. Always. They will always find a way to buy votes, to engage in voter fraud. I mean, bad things, but things that, guys, unfortunately, until reform actually happens, which it will, is not really completely against the law. Okay, it's unethical, it's immoral, but it's something they can get away with for a long period of time. So political machines do operate in many of these different ways. So I want you to answer those kinds of questions about how do they function, what made them successful. Right? For that, you're really looking at the last paragraph right before the bold third parties on page 621. Okay, so take a look at that, please. Mugwumps. We jump all the way to page 622. Mugwumps is actually in bold. Mugwumps is, people, you guys will, and may, I swear, unless you really wrote this down and really carefully look at these things, you will confuse mugwumps with sharecroppers, with carpetbaggers, with scalawags, with stalwarts, and so on and so forth when all these things come about. So really take a look at how you would define this group in a way that you'll remember it, first of all, but that makes sense. And it's not really the native version. I don't care that it's called chiefs in the Algonquin language. I mean, politically, people were in the reflection sheets too. We're asking, where is politics now? And really, that was the point of today, was actually to look at how politics is really non-existent, but will be. So just keep that in the back of your mind as we go through this too, right? So mugwumps, look at it. Right on page 622. What were the roles of women during this period? It goes into a lot of length here, right? For the remainder of page 622 and into 623, it's all about women. The groups they've come up with, their roles, what they're allowed to do, what they're not allowed to do, says society, right? Not wanting one person. But, of course, the laws exist too, right? Restrict women's ability to vote, things like that. The chapter finishes off with weak presidency, right? And the inefficient Congress is actually the text in the textbook. It's not that the weak presidency is any one person. But what is actually about history, right, as the texts tell us, it contributed to what is called that a weak executive presidency, right? And I think it's pretty obvious if you look at Johnson's presidency being impeached, that's really wounded that branch. It's wounded it. It's tough. You really need someone that's strong that can come in and actually make it strong again, okay? Make the office strong, is what I'm saying. The presidency is the office, the executive branch, to make that strong. Okay, so that's the idea. And inefficient Congress, if you look at some of the aspects of the end of 623 and going into 624, and how it's inefficient. What is making Congress inefficient? You know, is it the bureaucracy? Do we know what bureaucracy actually means? Is it, I'm giving you tons of hints right now, and is it that spoils system that still exists and now it's really to a fault? It's not the same Jacksonian one we've seen before, it's the same idea, but now you have this ever-present spoil system that really is spoiling the system more than anything. I'm giving a lot of hints right now. All right, let's see you tomorrow.